Hello and welcome to another edition of BizzyWebinar. Today we're going to talk about blogging for business, and we have our content maven at BizzyWeb, Ingrid Hornibrook, here with us today. So Ingrid, hello and welcome.
Thank you. Excited to be here.
Yeah, we're going to be switching back and forth between your screen and ours as we go through this. Ingrid actually hails out of Duluth, and she's actually in Minneapolis today to deliver the presentation for us on blogging. Ingrid does all of our blogging at BizzyWeb for a number of clients, actually, and her specialty is writing concise content that's designed to engage our clients' readers in a search engine and social media optimized format. So Ingrid, thanks for joining us.
Thank you.
All right, so as we go through today, brief notes about our agenda. We're going to talk a little bit about BizzyWeb, who we are and what we do, and then I'm going to hand the reins over to Ingrid for blogging for business. We're going to talk about what's in it for you, the benefits that you get out of hanging out and doing social media content via blogs, and then we'll talk about titles and content, details, and we've got a whole bunch of slides that are they're going to be very informative for you. We'll wrap that out with Q&A, and as we do that, we're also going to continue to ask questions live over the event. So if you do have questions, you'll note from the Hangout inside of the BizzyWeb website, if you've gone to BizzyWeb and you're clicking on the article and you're viewing from there, you can simply click on the YouTube link to join the actual event or to watch the event live, and then there's going to be a little button that says Q&A in the upper right-hand corner. If you enter in a question, if you're logged in with Google+, you'll be able to interact with us during the event, and then for folks that do have tech support and other issues, at about the half-hour point, we're going to close down the broadcast that's saved to YouTube, and we're going to leave the Hangout itself open. So what you'll want to do is visit the link on BizzyWeb.com, and at the bottom in the bottom left of the page, you'll see that we have our blogging basics article. If you click on that article, underneath the video embed is a link to join the Hangout, and from that spot, you'll be able to join our Hangout and chat with us live after the halfway point. So please feel free to join us at any time and ask those questions. And again, the best way is right now through the Q&A tool. You can just go there via BizzyWeb.com/BB, or if you go to Google.com/+BizzyWeb, you'll see that our Hangout is live in that window as well. BizzyWeb, of course, is an online marketing company specializing in web design on the WordPress platform and social media setups and integration. We actually have an entirely new suite of tools that we're going to be announcing next Wednesday, and we'll be demoing that on August 6th at our Buzz Builders. We're doing our grand opening for the BizzyWeb headquarters on next Thursday on the 31st, and so we're going to not have a Buzz Builders webinar next week, but would encourage you to join us if you can stop on by the BizzyWeb headquarters next Thursday, the 31st. We'd love to see you. We have beer from a client of ours, Finnegan's, that's going to be there. And we also have just a bunch of really cool stuff that we're going to be demoing, showing off, and just come and get to know us. Social media setups is a big part of what we do as well. And so you can see on here what examples of LinkedIn, Facebook, Google+, and Twitter accounts look like. If you haven't looked at any of your accounts in the past 3 months or so, all of these tools have drastically changed, and so your account probably looks a little funky right now. But take a little bit of time and check that out. We do have webinars about each of those over the past 2 months, and so if you're interested in how to update your LinkedIn, Facebook, Google+, or Twitter, by all means, check out the BizzyWeb webinars of the recent past here, and it'll tell you everything you need to know about how to get those set up. And now we're talking about blogging for business. So Ingrid, take it away.
Sure. Well, first I will start by talking a little bit about myself and who I am and what I do and how I came to BizzyWeb. I'm a freelance writer, and BizzyWeb actually is the first place that I started contracting, and I blog for a number of BizzyWeb clients. And so that's where I learned everything that I know about blogging, and now I'm excited to share what I know with you so that possibly you can do it for your own business, because it's so important to get fresh content out there, relevant content, for a variety of reasons. So I think I'm ready for the first slide. So first off, you're probably wondering what blogging can do for you. And it may seem several blogs out there that aren't necessarily for business are about, you know, maybe recipes and crafts or just sharing thoughts and ideas, and that's all great. But for business, it's a little bit different. And it actually does a lot for you online. It's if you're fresh and you're relevant with your content and you're consistent with your content, you can raise your credibility and give your business a voice. And it adds a little bit of personality to your business. So even if you have a business that you know, a lot of people out there do, say real estate or CPAs or chiropractors, blogging is really important because it sets you apart from all of the other professions out there that are in your same category. You also strengthen your brand with blogging. You can talk about what you're all about, what the people in your company like, what you like. You can literally talk about anything, and that all has to do with the brand of your business. When you sat down with your branding partner and your branding team, they asked you personal questions for a reason, and so it's those personal things about yourself and your company that you want other people to know about you, because clients and customers do, and patients and whoever you're dealing with, they do business with people, not businesses. They want to know that they're not just another client. Blogging also establishes you as an expert. You can get really detailed in your blogs if they're short and concise and easy to understand. And blogs can help describe a very complicated problem and how you have a solution to that very complicated problem. Aside from some of the more fluffy stuff about blogs and why you should blog for people, you can also blog because it increases your search engine optimization or your search engine rankings, which increases traffic to your website. So the more fresh and regular and relevant content and original content you have on your site that's swapped out weekly or more, Google and Bing and all of the search engines recognize that, and they recognize when people are reading your blogs and clicking through them and sharing them and interacting, thus making you a more relevant site. And of course, the search engines think of them as a business, and the users or the people searching on those search engines as customers. They want those customers to have a good experience on Google, and so therefore they're going to make sure that the best content lands at the top. So that's probably the most important reason to blog. So now that I have you convinced that you should blog, I will go into a few things that you need to know before you get started, because it's a little, blogs are casual. You can think of them as emails, really, that are sent to the masses, but there are a few blogging etiquette things that you need to know, and a few things that will help you get a little bit more visibility. So for the next 25 minutes or however much longer I have, I'm going to talk to you about how to create a clickable title and the components of that, making your content easy to read, and then also keeping what you do ethical and legal, because even though it's on the internet, plagiarism is still illegal. So I'm ready for the next slide. So titles that get clicks. One thing that I didn't think about before I started blogging was what makes me click on a title. I didn't click on every article that came across my path, say on Facebook or LinkedIn, but there were definitely some that that I did click on. And once I started noticing and really figuring out why I was clicking on that title, several of these things came to mind. So the titles that get the most clicks, they address a common problem. So say you're out there searching, or you have a frequently asked question or a common problem that clients come to you for. Your title, if it says it clearly and concisely, for instance, let's see here, I'm looking at a printer right now. The best way to sync my printer to my computer. That's a horrible example, but you get the point. It clearly states a problem. It says exactly what the blog is going to be about, and it's a popular problem that people are probably out there searching the internet for a solution to. Or titles also that speak to benefits of your solution or going with you, or the benefits of something like that. The benefits of syncing your printer with your computer. You can easily print within seconds. Just an example again, but it tells people again what your blog is about. It shows them what your blog is going to do for them, and it tells them that they're actually going to get something very useful out of your blog, and thank God you've come to their rescue. Another thing that makes a title get a click is a list. So you may have seen a lot of things out there on BuzzFeed. They're really popular with this. They do the top 5 most blah blah blah, or the top 31 something or other. Lists are nice because they let readers know the time commitment that they're going to have into that post before they even click on it. So then they can think, oh yeah, well maybe I do. It's lunchtime. I have time to read 31 benefits of something. Or maybe they save it for later, or maybe if your list is short and to the point, five reasons why you should hire me as a CPA. Those titles get a lot of clicks because they know that there is going to be 5 reasons or 31 reasons or a little information or a lot of information. They click on those titles. So to answer the question, that's the deal with those lists. I've seen that a lot on Facebook. People wondering, what's the deal with the top 10, the top 5? Well, now you know the big secret. It's so to let readers know how much of a time commitment your post is going to be. Another thing that gets titles a click is letting the reader know what your post will do for them. So you're going to solve a problem, you're going to provide a solution, you're going to provide benefits, you're going to do something for them. It's not about how great your company is, which of course it is, but that's not the time. Marketing is all about letting clients and prospects know what you can do for them. It's about them. So I'm ready for the next slide. So now that you know how to get people to click on your links and your posts, it's important to get them to stay, because if your content is difficult to read or is disorganized or doesn't really have anything to do with the title that you promised them, they're going to leave. And that's important because clicks are important, but it's important that they stay because search engines can track how long users are on a certain web page. And so if they're staying on your web page, your post, and reading it, they're likely going to be on it for several minutes, which is really good. It shows up really good, thus bumping you up in the search engine rankings. So the format of a blog that I use is there should always be an intro, a body, and a closing. And the intro should clearly list out or address a popular problem or solution. And something, starting the blog out with something like, have you ever had the problem of, or have you ever wondered why? And it addresses a question that makes them think, oh yeah, I have thought that, or I have wondered that, or gosh, I just ran into that problem yesterday and I'm done with it, I'm ready for a solution. So they know right away that your blog is going to help them solve their problem. Your intro should also should also address what you're going to talk about. So after you address the question or the problem, then say something like, in a more clever way, in this blog I'm going to talk about the 5 ways you can solve your problem. And of course, it doesn't have to be always about solving the problem. This is just an example for this particular blog that I'm talking about. So in the body, you can describe the problem in as much detail as you want. I kind of like to think of those infomercials when people are trying to clean and their hair is messy and water is spilling everywhere because it's just an inconvenient way to clean, and then so that would be a good way to describe the problem. Maybe exaggerate it a little bit. And then offer your solution. And your solution should just wrap it all up and make them have an aha moment, almost like once they follow your advice, their world will be a utopic bliss until the next problem comes along, of course. And the closing, acknowledge that you've given them the information that they need to solve their problem. This way, it brings it back to you. It brings it back to your company, and then the next steps and the call to action will let them know that you offer a solution to the problem that they have, or you offer the answer to the question that they have. And one question is, how long are blogs typically? Well, it's good to get into detail. If the text just goes on and on and on forever, readers can usually get the point within 1 or 2 sentences or a very short paragraph. So I like to keep blogs in between 300 and 500 words. Any more than that, it starts to get a little bit wordy and redundant and just a little bit too descriptive. So about between 300 to 500 words. Sort of, I just like to keep it as a long email, because blogs should be casual and just pretend like you're writing an email to the masses. Your personality will come out then, and your sense of humor will come out, and it'll make you more personable, and it will make readers come back for more information from you. Those are also the blogs that get a lot of views and clicks and shares. I think I'm ready for the next slide. So content, when you have your content formula, it's more than just writing a long document, paragraph after paragraph of text. Because blogs are casual and easy, and sometimes people scan them, you got to make the important content easy to see. And there's specific ways to do that. So people are going to scan everything, and lists really make content pop out. So you can do that providing bullets, numbers, highlighted titles, anything that breaks up the information within your blog, because they can read that title or that bullet and say, oh yeah, that's what I really want to know. I'm going to read this entire paragraph. Rarely is it when someone reads an entire blog from beginning to end on the first go around. They'll scan it, and then maybe they'll read it through, or they'll move on. Hopefully they stay and read it through. Bold content also helps to make the important, the meat of what you want to say pop out. Images that are relevant, those can be infographics, they can be graphs, they can be a picture that describes or has something to do with the content. And let's see here. And let's see, here's another question. What do I need to do for my blog to rank well on search engines? What you need to do to get your blog to rank well on search engines is be sure to use a lot of keywords and phrases. So, for instance, if you're in the construction building or the construction industry and you do roofing, sidings, and windows, make sure your blogs are very specific, and you don't want to cover everything that you do in one post. So maybe talk about a specific brand of windows, and make sure to pepper in keywords in there, such as roofing contractor, local contractor, window installer, or something like that. Make it sound like a human wrote it, and then naturally search engines will see that, and your users will find it easier to use. If it's peppered with too many keywords and the same keywords over and over again, then it can start to sound like a robot has written it and not a real person, thus making someone not really trust the content and move on. And another question is, back to the headings and the content, should all of the content be bold or just the headings? Just the headings should be bold. And the headings should clearly state what that paragraph is about, either with a short sentence, a short bold sentence at the top, and they should be easy to find too. So maybe put a space in between the heading and the text. I think I'm ready. So on to our last topic here, plagiarism. This is kind of it's kind of a fun topic because there's some gray areas, I guess, as with everything. But I always like to just keep in mind that set a line for yourself and make sure it's an ethical line, and it's a line that is for sure on the side of honesty, and know that you're never going to cross that line, because as soon as you do, then your line gets that much further and further and further. So plagiarism on the internet, yes, it's on the internet, but it is still illegal. It's also unethical, and all of that work that you've done to build up your credibility through your blog, as soon as you get caught plagiarizing, or someone sees copied content or even similar content, it really reduces your credibility. So you don't want to do that. Even if you never get caught up in a legal battle because of plagiarism, it'll hurt your reputation. You can get into legal trouble with pictures, content, and any content that's online that you don't have permission to reuse. So what will happen if I do plagiarize? Here's a question. Well, your credibility goes down the drain, and you can enter into a lawsuit if the other person wants to take it that far. And so the best way to ensure that well, maybe this is on my next slide. Hang on one second. I just want to make sure I don't get ahead of myself. Okay, so plagiarism also lowers your trust factor, because as soon as you don't come up with content on your own, people will oftentimes try to figure out where you came up with that content and go to the original source. And not only that, it negatively affects your SEO. So if your content is similar to another website's content, or it's copied directly, search engines will recognize that the content is similar, and they will put the most relevant and the most likely to be original content at the top of the SEO, or the top of the search engine, and kick the rest of the content back to page 40, never to be found. And here's a question: what about those blogging services? Is that plagiarism? That is not plagiarism. That's ghostwriting, and you can, if you ethically reuse content, which we'll talk about in the next slide, you can actually create a community of blogging and sharing information, which is the positive side of sharing content. And here's another question: how do search engines know if the content is plagiarized? Oh boy, that's news to me. That's an SEO thing, and I know just about enough of that to be dangerous. Dave, do you have any input on that?
Well, actually, that's a great question, and thanks to Kirby and Christina for logging that question. The big thing that we've found is, with Google, of course, they're indexing the entire internet, so they'll know if that content has shown up in other places, and they actually will recognize all the way down to sentences that are the same across all websites. So a lot of times you can see if content has been reused on sites that are likely to see, like a lot of lawyer sites or a lot of law professional sites have subscription content, and that's not necessarily plagiarized content, but what Google sees is it indexes all of the text, and so if parts of a content, or parts of content like a paragraph or even an entire post, is the same across all sorts of different locations, then Google will automatically downgrade or ignore everything that shows up after the first version that has appeared anywhere, which is the canonical version of that content. So in SEO, a lot of times you hear about the canonical version. That just means the first place that it shows up gets all the credit, and Google isn't going to actively pursue you if you plagiarize content and just copy and paste it, but be aware that the content owners might be monitoring their content, and they might hit you with a cease and desist, or even worse, a lawsuit, if you're actively ripping off their content. So in general, it's just best to focus on your own stuff. Of course, other people are going to have different, or you're probably likely to type similar things to other people, but as long as it's your content, you're going to be safe.
Thank you.
Absolutely.
Okay, I think I'm ready for the next slide too. So, yes, reusing content the right way. You can actually create sort of a community of sharing content and discussions and that sort of thing, and referencing what other people have said on their internet is it's a great way to show other people that you're doing your research and you're interested in the topics that you're talking about. But you want to make sure that, just like in school, just like in college, you've got to cite your sources and tell people where you came up with the information that you came up with. In quotes, if you're directly quoting how maybe a phrase or something from one, make sure that you note that and make it very obvious that it's not your own words. And then, of course, the beauty of the internet, you can provide links back to the original content. And if you do all of these things, you should be fine. Now, I don't know how all of these things affect your SEO because of what Dave just addressed with reusing the same sentences. But as far as the ethics part of it goes and keeping you out of legal trouble, this is the way to do it. And I believe I am ready for my next slide, unless you have anything more to add to this.
Sure, I'll just interject a little bit, Ingrid. What's called Oreo posts are actually encouraged on the web. It's okay to share specific tidbits of content as long as you don't represent that content as being your own. So one of my favorite types of blog posts is the Oreo post, where you have your information and then you quote someone else and you link to that content, and then you give your analysis of that content. So that doesn't give you're not penalized SEO wise for having content that you cite from other sources. But the point is you have to make sure that you link to those places. And a lot of times what will happen is if you do link to other websites and you quote their content and you provide thoughtful, helpful insight over and above that, they will link back to you. And that's where backlinks come in. And kind of search engines love when content talks to each other or it interrelates and interlinks, because that's just one of those indicators that the content is well thought out and well connected, especially if you're getting comments or content from a highly trafficked source that then links back to you. So it can actually help you if you do it the right way.
Awesome, thank you. Yeah, I'm ready for the next slide too. Oftentimes when people come to us who want to blog, they have a lot of questions on how to get started and how to keep going. Well, since blogging can really put your business a cut above the rest, here are some tips on how to keep the content rolling right through your fingertips. So the most important thing is to carve time out of your week, every single week, to write a blog. And this can be whenever it's convenient for you, but just make sure to put it on your calendar. Make sure it pops up as a reminder, because pretty soon, 4 weeks will pass by, and then pretty soon a year, and then you don't have a blog. So create a blog calendar. That's the best way to do that. And you can actually, even through your blog idea list, as you come up with ideas, you can plug those ideas right into the calendar, so you know the topic that you're going to be talking about that week if you're coming up dry on topics. And then you want to post at least every week. And I know that sounds like a lot, but again, if you think of a blog as an email to the masses, think of how many emails you send in a week. It's just one more email sent out to everybody, all of your followers, and it does so much for your business that it's definitely worth it. So if you create a blog idea list and a blog calendar, you're well on your way to creating your own blog, along with following the formula of the intro, body, and closing. You can, if you keep that in mind, as soon as you have your angle, you should be able to pump out content really quickly. So you could do that, and a lot of times, like I said, people come to us, having questions about blogs. They also come to us noting that they've tried starting blogs many, many times, and it just doesn't work out because they just run out of time. They have their business to run, and they just don't have the time to sit down and write it, or they don't necessarily feel confident in their writing skills and just don't like doing it. It's like me and math. I just don't like doing math. Just like some people just don't like writing. So what you could do is hire a professional blogger or a ghostwriter like me. I talk to clients through BizzyWeb every single week, and so then you get somebody who gets to know your business as well as you do. Well, not as well as you do, but the advantage of that is that they know your business well, and they know you well, but they also don't know it so well that they're going to confuse your readers with a lot of technical lingo. So your blog really can be easily read by the masses. And so then you get a professionally written blog post every week. All you have to do is read through it and either give your edits or give the okay, and then it go ahead, and then it gets posted for you right on your website and on your social media, your LinkedIn and your Facebook. And together with your writer, you can create a strategic blog strategy, and you know that the job is handled. And then you can just get back to doing what it is that you like to do, and that's what you went into business to do. So that's kind of those are the benefits of hiring a professional writer to write your blogs. And I am ready for the next slide. Any questions?
questions over the time, and I've been able to log those in. A lot of them came in as through me on the Q&A app. Those didn't all come from me. Those were from all of the other spots that we requested questions from. So if you do have questions, again, this is your last chance to do it via the live broadcast, but would love to encourage everyone to go to BizzyWeb.com, hit the article on Blogging for Business, and inside of that Blogging for Business, it says join us on our Google Hangout right underneath the embedded video. And if you click on that link or go into our Google Plus Hangout and join that Hangout, you'll be able to ask questions and Q&A on a more one-to-one basis, but you'll have to jump onto the Hangout in order to do that. Feel free to do that right away. We're going to open up that line after we close down the broadcast. But as we do that and as we wait for additional questions to come in, I will go through the rest of the slides while we have you all here. So just in general, to wrap up, wanted to go over a couple of things. Of course, BizzyWeb can help you with all of these things. We do web design and development that's designed to take advantage of blogging because we build all of our websites on WordPress, which is the largest blogging platform on the web. When you work with us, we actually help you to get a website that generates leads for you and grow your business using blogging as one of the key and underlying proponents or components of your site. When you blog effectively, we actually build your blog to integrate with your social media so that when you publish to a blog, it posts on Facebook, LinkedIn, Twitter, Google+, integrates with Pinterest, imports from YouTube, so that you've got an all-in-one social media and online marketing platform that'll do all of this for you. The key and the core of all of this, however, is blogging and keeping regular content on your website. So thank you very much, Ingrid, for outlining what a good blogging strategy needs to include. We also do hosting, and so if you need hosting, or if your website is currently on WordPress in particular, we have a fantastic suite of hosting tools that really let our clients see a big increase in speed, which helps you with search engine optimization, as well as enhanced security. You know, there's all kinds of hackers out there and all kinds of terrible things that are happening to people as a result of all of these vulnerabilities that have been identified over the past few years. If you don't have a solid or a hard-to-guess password, now is the time to make those changes. If you haven't updated your password in the past 3 months, now is the time to make that change because of the Heartbleed vulnerability and all kinds of other things. BizzyWeb actively monitors and takes care of hacking attempts to make sure that that doesn't happen to you. And if it does, we have backups to actually rotate back to your previous content so that you don't lose everything if the worst does happen. BizzyWeb can help you by building those social media content pages. There's a picture of me, and I'll stop by and help you out. Content creation and monitoring with Ingrid, search engine and optimization and marketing with ads through our team and Kevin, web hosting, and of course, if you'd like more information or would like us to speak on to your organization or group, I actually have a appointment booked to talk about how to use iOS devices with a business in the northern metro of Minneapolis-St. Paul here. So we take care of content, and of course we have a beautiful training facility where we can have you in and train you how to do more of this. Just get a hold of us if that's the case. Be sure to join us every Wednesday. Next Wednesday is going to be a weird one because we don't have a BuzzBill or a BizzyWebinar this next week. We're actually doing the grand opening of BizzyWeb in our new headquarters, and so that's going to be a big week for us, and we're holding off on BuzzBuilders that week. The week after that, we're going to be featuring our new BuzzBuilders online marketing content and programming suites, and so we're going to demo that live on August 6th, I believe. So if you're available, we would love to have you there with us a week from next Wednesday. Next Wednesday, of course, why don't you clear your calendar for Wednesday and use that time to stop by our headquarters on Thursday the 31st to stop by and say hello in person at the BizzyWeb headquarters. And of course, if you haven't yet taken the time and would like more information about your company and to have us take a look at what you're doing and give you recommendations on where to improve, fill out a Buzz report request at BizzyWeb.com/buzz. We'll help you out, take care of you, and make sure that your business is well represented with their online marketing. Again, I am Dave Meyer, and I'm going to stop my screen share here and just say hello quickly. And Ingrid, thank you very much for joining us today on the event. So excited to have you with. This is a final reminder for folks to jump over to the Hangout itself by going into the BizzyWeb article on the homepage of BizzyWeb.com. Go down to the lower left, click on the Join Our Hangout, and then you can ask more questions, and we'll take care of you in person there. So, again, this is Dave, and thanks again, Ingrid, for joining us. And nice job. I think it turned out really well.
Thank you.
For everybody else, please join us. We're going to be hanging out until the top of the hour, so if you haven't, now is your chance to ask live questions and get real live tech support. I'm Dave Meyer with BizzyWeb, of course, and thank you all for joining us. Remember, at BizzyWeb, we help you generate buzz without getting stung. See you in 2 weeks.